Today, let's look at active share and active risk. Part 1. Active share. Active share is all about the weight or percentage that each stock represents within one portfolio. For example, in a benchmark portfolio, there are 3 stocks, each representing 20%, 30%, and 50% of the weight of the whole portfolio. In one investor's portfolio, there are the same 3 stocks, but with different weights of 30%, 40%, and 30%. This gives an active share of 20%. In another investor portfolio, there are only 2 shares, so each share has a weight of 50%. In this case, the active share is higher at 50%. When there are fewer stocks in a portfolio, the weight differences versus the benchmark are more extreme. Since we take the absolute value of these differences, active share increases when the investor portfolio is more concentrated over fewer stocks. Part 2. Active risk. Active risk is the standard deviation of active return. To understand active risk, we consider active return to have 2 components, one from exposure to rewarded factors, the other from idiosyncratic risk. When 2 stocks are in the same industry, they are cross-related and move more closely together than if they were in separate industries. So, for the first component, we see that when investors' stock pick and the benchmark stock are in the same industry, the standard deviation of active return is lower and thus active risk is lower. For the second component, idiosyncratic risk is a non-systematic risk that is unique to each stock and can be mitigated through diversification. So, when there are fewer securities in a portfolio, the active risk is higher. Part 3. Examples. If we put active risk on the x-axis and active share on the y-axis, an investor portfolio that purely indexes the benchmark portfolio has very low active share and active risk. Now, a concentrated stock picker is the exact opposite case, where fewer securities and lower cross-correlation with the benchmark lead to high active share and high active risk. In between these 2 extreme cases, there exist multi-factor managers, who lower the portfolio's active risk through factor exposure and diversification. His active share can be, however, high because the individual stocks' weights are different from the benchmark. A sector rotator is an excellent example of how to take on a high active risk. The bigger the difference in sectors between the investor portfolio and the benchmark, the less the cross-correlation between the 2, and the higher the active risk. However, in this case, the active share may be high or low depending on if the investor portfolio is concentrated on few stocks or not. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions regarding this topic, please let me know. See you next time.